everybody. Welcome back again to a little Austin Sports Weekend. We are sick at home today, a little under the weather. Both of us are sick at the same time. So we are filming from home today. We hope you have a little fun with us. But we're going to talk a little college football. And, of course, we got to cover...
well, the Tennessee Volunteers.
The game of the week for us Tennessee Volunteers. We had Bama at Tennessee this week.
It's a very classic rivalry game. They played over 100 times.
Third weekend
in October.
You say third weekend in October in the ACC, and you know
what's going on.
It's time to smoke a cigar for one of the teams or the other.
And it was Tennessee this year.
Tennessee
that got to smoke that cigar.
Tennessee.
If you wanted to rewind the Florida game, just rewind that game and then look back to this one. It's like the same game.
Yeah, except we didn't go to overtime.
That's the only difference. It's like the same
Tennessee
thing.
won it in regular time instead of overtime.
I mean, when have you heard this one before? They did nothing offensively in the first half and rallied in the second half to defeat their opponent.
Yeah, Eric Ainge is a good friend of ours. He actually said something that was actually really good. He said, we've got a 4-quarter defense, and right now we got a 2-quarter offense. And we're beating Alabama with just a 2-quarter offense. Imagine how good we would be if we had a 3-quarter offense. Or all 4-quarter offense. So if we can get that... Now, in the second half, the offense sparked up a little bit better than it had in quite some time, to be honest. We scored all of our points in the second quarter. What was the final score again?
24-17 Tennessee.
Beat them by 7. So, yeah, we scored all 24 points.
Basically, almost the same as Florida. Almost the same exact copy.
Yeah.
Almost, we just scored 1 point more.
Yeah, that was it. But the last score was in overtime for
in that Florida game.
We got all 24 points and just really halfway through the third quarter. So in 2 quarters, we got 24 points. So our offense did click a little bit better this time. The passing was better in the second half. Got that really good long 55-yard pass down the side to Dante.
And Will Brooks got that interception at the end of the game. He's made a couple of plays.
He's made a couple of big plays.
Won that pick 6 against NC State, and now this big game-sealing pick.
Of
Jalen Milroe.
The walk-on linebacker.
From Birmingham.
Birmingham, right outside of Alabama, who decided to come to Tennessee and be a walk-on. Thank you. We're just talking about, people. I'm going to go ahead and call out us Tennessee fans just a little bit. We get a little whiny, cry. We get a little spoiled, and we get a little obnoxious.
We especially us at times.
Yeah.
Especially Alabama. Any SEC fan base has those whiners.
Yeah, that's why. And we tend to sometimes not appreciate what we have, what's going on. Let me tell you something here. People complaining about there's people out there now, not us, complaining about Josh Heupel, complaining about this, complaining about that. Tennessee's Josh Heupel is now 4-2 in his past 6 games against Alabama and Florida. What were we the prior 32 games?
1-31.
So we were 1-31 out of the previous 32 games against Florida and Alabama.
But in the last
six, Josh Heupel has us 4-2.
A winning record. That's a winning record. That is
You just want to say to those people complaining, shut up.
That's a 67% winning percentage
against your 2 rival teams.
That's pretty good. I wouldn't admit that.
If 4 years ago, let's say 4 years ago, when Heupel took over, if you say, tell you what, his 6 games going into the 2024 season, you're going to be 4-2 against Alabama and Florida. Would you take it?
I would.
Yeah, I think we've seen the 70 points scored, and we've seen the flash and bang. Of our offense start at 1 point and 22, and I think maybe we get a little spoiled and we want to see that 70 points against SEC teams. It's just not going to happen yet. Now, I'm not saying it couldn't, because we still have a young
That
offense.
does kind of circle back to a problem that just seems to occur itself. I hate to be the bearer of criticism on this show, but Joey Halsley, he just can't coach a consistent game.
The offense is a little inconsistent. We're starting out games with not a very good game plan, but then we do have good in-game adjustments because we're scoring 17 to 24 points in the second half the last two games. So we've got the potential. We had a few passes that were dropped in the last game. We had a few passes that were off in the last game, but not in the second half. Again, there will, mark my word, mark this time in the video, this day, there will become a time that Tennessee's offense clicks. And I wonder...
Do you think it'll happen, not this next week because we got a bye week this week, but do you think it happens against Kentucky?
I wonder if that was the moment in the second half of the Alabama game when he completed the 55-yard pass down the sideline. He was rolling to his right, and he threw that pass. You couldn't have thrown it any better. I mean, he threw it, led him right down with, first and goal at the 3-yard line. I wonder if that was the clicking moment, but because after that, he threw the beautiful touch pass to Brazel in the end zone. I just wonder if maybe that was the moment that it clicked.
Of course, miscommunication happens, but it's happened more often than not this year.
Yeah, we still got a young offense. Nico is still young. I think Nico is going to be a superstar. I still think he's going to be a first-round draft pick when all this comes said and done. Shout out to Cooper Mays, the offensive lineman of the week.
And we've had our offensive line issues this year, and that's pretty...
Yeah, the offensive line played a little bit better this week. I'm going to give them a little kudos because in the game prior to that, the left side of our line was pretty bad. They rated in 50s to 30s. I haven't seen the ratings this week on them, but Cooper gets offensive lineman of the week, and of course the offensive player of the week.
Really, the MVP of the season,
the MVP
Dylan Sampson.
Dylan Sampson. He had 26 carries for 139 yards.
Just give him the ball.
And just give him the ball. He had 2 TDs. I got some pretty good stats. I had to get them on down here for you. Dylan Sampson is one TD shy of Tennessee's record
of rushing touchdowns in a year.
Yes, it's a 95-year-old record.
That's a long time.
Of 18 touchdowns in one season. Dylan has 17 through 7 games.
Just get him the ball. That's how you get the offense. Just run the ball and then maybe play action off of it.
So Dylan Sampson is definitely going to be Tennessee's all-time leading touchdown in-season rusher. There's actually been rumors this week again. The Heisman talk has popped up, which I think is well-deserved. He's the best runner in the SEC and arguably one of the best runners in the country on a Power 5 team, if not the best runner in the country on a Power 5 team. I said he had 26 carries for 2 TDs. He averaged 5.3 yards a carry against Alabama.
And Alabama does have their problems. We can get to that a little later.
Yeah.
But that's still good to do that against an arch rival.
5.3 yards a carry is spectacular. Now, jumping into our defense is really what's been carrying us this entire team, this entire year. And James Pierce, ever since the ACC games have started, he has really been showing some skills.
Not only is he's a popular pick in the college football video game, which I've played, but he's also a popular pick for a high draft pick.
Dylan Sampson jumped up to 93 this week in the ratings. So he's jumped up from an 85. Now he's in the 90s as far as Dylan Sampson's ratings go. So he keeps going up. James Pierce leads all defensive players in the nation with a 23.3 QB pressure rate.
That's expected season. For one of our highest draft picks in years projected. James Pierce is predicted to be a top 10 pick.
The last 3 games, 4.5 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, 1 forced fumble, 1 pass breakup, 19 tackles, 18 pressures, 31 pressures all season. So
good guy to have a good rusher on the edge.
He's still going to be a top 10 draft pick. What's really surprising, not really surprising, but really fantastic, we were all really hoping for, was that lockdown DB.
Jermon McCoy, who came from Oregon State.
We got him now. John McCoy this season, 208 coverage snaps, 0 TDs allowed.
That is very...
With the interception in the end zone on the young Alabama phenom.
On Ryan Williams. That was a very... One-handed snag.
Mm. He has 5 pass breakups, 7 pass defenders, 2 interceptions, included the one-handed one. One in the end zone there against Alabama. The Vols defense has held their opponents under 20 points for the first 7 games. They're actually averaging our defense. I'll get here in just a second. Tennessee is the only FBS team to rank in the top 5 nationally in scoring defense, total defense, and third down defense. In the 7 games, the Vols defense has forced more turnovers, 11, than they've given up touchdowns, 8. Our defense is for real. 11 turnovers, and they've only allowed 8 TDs the entire 7 games.
Somebody had to dig up those stats.
Yeah. They're first in hard stops versus the FBS. Yards per play, they're second in 4.03. Rushing defense, second, 79. Third down D, second, 23.7. Scoring D, fourth. They're actually only giving up a little over right at 11 yards a game.
11 points a game.
Yeah. 11 points a game. Tackles for loss, third. Total D, fourth, 259. Red zone, D, 6. So...
That's a top 6 defensive unit.
Yeah, and all 132 teams. And so that's counting teams that some of this is skewed. I should have pulled up the Power 5 stats. So that is Tennessee's Tennessee's offense and Tennessee's defense. I really think Tennessee might click really soon. So let's watch against the Kentucky game.
Now, one team you got to be scared about is Alabama at this point. They've showed a lot of inconsistency. The offense hasn't really gotten to clicking. Kalen DeBoer's gotten a bunch of criticism for his lack of discipline on the team. You've heard that a lot.
Yeah, he's took over a team that wasn't his. Again, he's a first year coach there, so we'll have to give him a little bit of leeway. But yeah, they're not the Alabama of old. They're not the Nick Saban Alabama. All right,
not really quite.
All right, let's jump over the rest of the games we had last week.
We have Oregon wiping out Purdue just like we expected.
Yeah, Purdue was pretty bad. Yeah, so we knew Purdue is definitely having a down year this year.
And moving on from Oregon's emphatic win, we have BYU sneaking by Oklahoma State 38-35.
That we thought that might be close.
BYU had a wild touchdown at the end to win the game.
Otherwise, it would have been another upset.
And that was a good one for the Cougars.
Yes, it was a good win.
Miami had a bit of a shootout with Louisville, 52-45.
We thought that would be close too, but I didn't know there was going to be 90 points scored in the game. Thought there might be a little bit more defense than that, but we did call that to be a close game also, I think.
In another game with high scoring, Clemson defeats Virginia. Number 10 Clemson wins 48-31.
They gave up more points than what I thought Clemson did, but still Clemson is looking like a really good team right now. It's going to be interesting to see when it comes down between Clemson and Miami who takes that conference.
Notre Dame defeated Georgia Tech, and Georgia Tech did not have their starting quarterback in this game.
Yeah, we figured that would go just about the way it did, yeah.
And Texas A&M and Mississippi State all of a sudden looks competitive.
Yeah, what has happened to Mississippi State? They were losing by 40 points a game, and then all of a sudden the last
2 or 3, they've
the last couple of
playing
games,
it close.
So maybe they're starting to pull it together a little bit. Maybe they're starting to
first-year head coach. A first-year head coach, Mike Elko, has got the Aggies to an undefeated SEC conference record.
I would not have guessed that one. We got a good game this weekend, don't we? We'll talk about that one here in just a second.
LSU wins 34-10 over Arkansas. They're also undefeated in conference play.
A lot of people had Arkansas winning that. I think we had picked LSU. LSU's sort of been on a tear lately, so we sort of felt that one coming too. LSU's actually a pretty good team. LSU and Texas A&M are both undefeated in the SEC right now.
Yep, and Iowa State, number 9, squeaks by UCF to avoid an upset, 38-35.
That was really close too. UCF had a really good chance to win that one there towards the end, and just couldn't pull it together. So,
Iowa's one of the quietest teams in the nation.
They are a quiet top 10 team. You don't know what. And again, they've got some games coming up too. That's going to make them or break them too.
In the final game of the week, with some controversy involved, Georgia at Texas. Georgia had that game from the beginning.
Georgia dominated that game. They seemed like the ones that came in there ready the most.
And that Walker linebacker took over the entire game.
Yeah, and then there was a bad call.
And
against Texas, the fans threw out
a bunch of bottles,
150,000 water bottles, and the refs changed the call. I have never seen that in my entire life.
Never before have I seen that.
No.
And for all of those people that say that the Tennessee fans are the only ones that throw stuff on the field, that proves to you otherwise.
Whenever you see a bad call, fans are going to throw stuff. But I have never seen anybody after they call
the fans literally bullied them into changing the call.
Normally the refs will get together, once the flag's been thrown, they'll get together before they do the call if they're going to change it.
But no,
they did the call and threw the bottles. The fans are going crazy, so they changed the call. I've never seen that before. That's the wildest thing that I've ever seen before. I mean, they don't even do that for the Kansas City Chiefs in the NFL. I mean, they just don't call.
You want to bet?
They might, yeah. But but Georgia was the better team. That didn't really change the game. But that was just just a little weird. All right, let's go ahead and jump into this week here. What we got? We got no Tennessee, so let's jump into the rest of them. What do we got coming up?
Ohio State hosts Nebraska after that loss to Oregon.
Yeah, Nebraska sort of crapped the bed last week against Indiana.
Indiana looks like they're gonna. We might be talking about them pretty soon. They're gonna be pretty sneaky.
They haven't played anybody up until last week,
but
they snocker whopped our Nebraska, and I honestly probably think Ohio State will too. Ohio State's got to prove now that they deserve
where they're at.
So I think the line's probably on that one, 20 points or something.
And I'm gonna take that.
I'm gonna probably take
Here's my
State.
Most exciting other side game of the week. Yeah. Notre Dame, number 12 against number 24, Navy.
Oh, I would love to see Navy win, honestly, just for the fun of it. I don't really like either team as far as that goes, but Navy.
My heart says Navy, but my brain says Notre Dame.
Yeah, Notre Dame should win the game. Actually,
I do love my naval. I do love my military forces. Mm-hmm. I love the navies, the RVs.
That Army-Navy game is going to be something this year, ain't it? That's going to be one to go to. That's going to be a hot ticket.
That's one of the most meaningful Army-Navy games, possibly with the way it's trending in a long
time. But yeah, Notre Dame's probably going to win that one pretty handily.
And speaking of Indiana, here they are.
Okay, what we got with them?
Indiana hosting Washington.
That's a very interesting game. I think that game could be really, 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 really close. Again, I don't trust Indiana yet. Not saying that Indiana's not a good team, but I've only seen them play one good team, and that was Nebraska. Although they did
mollywop.
They handled them very, very easily.
Indiana's offense has scored 40 points each of their first 7 games, so they have a good high-flying offense. That's their identity.
Washington's not too bad of a team there this year, though, are they?
No, not really. They're 4-3. They're definitely.
I would probably still take Indiana.
Want to take the Hoosiers?
Just because they're on that roll.
It's definitely something when we're talking about the Hoosiers in football season. Huh?
But what's the line on it? Is it like 6.5? I think
Indiana by 6.5.
Yeah, 6.5. I'd probably roll with that. I would probably take Indiana, but I would not be shocked if Washington even upset them, but I'll probably roll with Indiana just while they're hot.
We have number 20 Illinois and number 1 Oregon. Oregon hosting number 20 Illinois.
I like Oregon to win, but coming off of that huge win last week, will there be any letdown?
Well, they beat up on Purdue, so maybe that will get them warmed up for this.
Yeah, I don't know. What's that? The line's probably pretty big on that one, ain't it?
Oregon by 22.
22 over Illinois.
I don't know if I'm going to pick that.
I'm sort of afraid of that line.
Brett Bielema is the coach of Illinois, and he's done some wacky things in the Big Ten. And
he is a defensive. He's a pretty good defensive, slowing the game down, running the ball type coach. So that's for a lot of points for me.
UCF hosting number 11 BYU. They're actually favored. UCF by 2. So that might be a trendy upset pick.
BYU almost got beat last week. Probably could have been beat. Probably should have been beat.
I think this might be a good upset pick for those.
Do you like the UC? Do you sort of like them on that?
Sort of.
All right, let's go ahead and let's go ahead and lean that way then. I'm sort of 50-50 on it.
Missouri and Alabama. This really depends on how healthy Missouri is.
Missouri, I did notice one bad thing here. It's in one of my notes that I got out here. Missouri's Nate Noel is out.
They're starting running back.
Yeah, so Missouri starting
and their
running
quarterback, Brady Cook, is doubtful with an ankle injury.
Yeah, so if they don't have their starting quarterback and their starting running back,
I'd say roll tide.
I say roll tide, baby. Yeah, and Alabama's due a get-right game.
And this is one of them.
This might be the get. Now, if Alabama struggles against Missouri here,
there's going to be some huge red flags. Huge red flags.
Huge ones. What we got next?
Texas at number 25, Vanderbilt.
Don't you want to see this game?
I do.
I mean, don't you really want to see this game?
I do.
Vanderbilt's new nickname is what?
Swaggerbilt.
Swaggerbilt. They are walking around with the gold chains on right now. Swaggerbilt. I actually got a friend who goes to Vandy. So
my friend, too.
Shout out there, yeah. What's I know the line's probably pretty big on that one.
Texas is favored by 18.5.
Texas is favored by 18.5. Texas just coming off of a loss, and Texas normally beats the doors off of people.
And Vanderbilt is at one of their highest moments in a very long time, though. Do you want to take that?
I don't know. What do you think?
I might take that line for Texas. It depends on how focused the Horns are.
Yeah.
But they have to be careful about Vandy now.
They are at Vandy. I know Alabama said that doesn't mean anything.
But what? Jeez.
And then went there and lost. So, but Texas might be taking them a little more seriously. I probably would take the Texas line on that just because I don't trust Vandy. But they're good.
And
they are top 25 Vandy. When's the last time you've heard top 25 Vandy?
In over a decade.
10 years ago.
I feel pretty good for those little guys over at
Nashville.
I do. It's been so long since Vandy's been competitive.
But Texas coming off of a loss, wanting to prove themselves.
I don't think
to go Texas.
Number 6 Miami against Florida State.
Is that even a question?
It's
not a question of who wins. It's just how much is Miami going to win by?
They've got 21 on the line. I would take 35.
I would take 35.
I would take 40.
Yeah,
I would take 45.
Yeah, I think this might be a 52-10 game. I don't know.
Florida State is one of the worst football teams in the country.
Yeah, and
if you saw that,
Miami would like nothing better than to beat the doors off of them.
And they had last week they were a contender of dumpster fire of the week again. What a surprise! But they had a guy. They had the quarterback that turned the ball over 3 straight times on 3 straight possessions.
Mm.
You saw that.
I saw that.
That was just terrible.
It was what, 3 turnovers in 3 plays?
Yes, in a row.
Oh, so bad. They are terrible. I'll take Miami minus 50.
Here's one of my upset picks. Number 3, Penn State against Wisconsin. Big game, James.
Big game, James. You going to take Wisconsin?
I'm taking whiskey.
What's the line on
Penn
that
State
one?
by 6.5. I'm taking Wisconsin.
We'll take Wisconsin plus 6.5 on that one.
Big game, James.
He almost lost against USC. I really thought he was going to lose that one. So, Wisconsin it is.
LSU, Texas A&M, ABC game of the night.
Game of the week. That's really the game of the week. A one-loss A&M against a one-loss LSU. And
Texas A&M has home field.
Both teams are
needing a win
because they're both undefeated in the SEC. Whoever wins this will be the number one team in the SEC standings.
How about them?
A&M and LSU, not Georgia, Alabama, and Texas. I had a feeling LSU last week. I probably got a feeling LSU again this week.
Even Texas A&M has home field.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I still like LSU for some reason.
Yeah?
What is it, like a 2.5 point game?
Yep, and I'll go ahead and take LSU in those
I'll
points.
probably take LSU.
Dumpster fire of the week.
Our dumpster, I don't have Marty with me right now, but our dumpster fire of the week is
Oklahoma.
Man, what has happened to Oklahoma?
Let me tell you one thing. Their offensive line and their offensive scheme was absolutely... That South Carolina game was a disgrace.
How can you lose that bad to South Carolina at home?
At noon. It's not like this was a primetime game. It was at noon.
I don't know. South Carolina is a mid-SEC team.
And they just got whipped.
And, I mean, Oklahoma's down there with, like, Mississippi State now.
I just don't understand that.
Mississippi State might be getting better than Oklahoma.
Oklahoma was so bad. You know what automatically qualified them for this? They fired their offensive coordinator after the game.
They did fire their offensive coordinator after the game, yeah.
And they promoted Joe John Finley to replace him. And some Oklahoma fans are calling it replacing Butthead with Beavis. I mean, they don't really like that.
Sad to say, I don't know how this offseason is going to be for the head coach. I do like Brent Venables. I think he's got a great defensive mind. He's sort of struggled here in the offense with the Oklahoma Sooners.
They might give him another year, you think? To try to get a new offensive coordinator, might him give one more shot?
I don't know if Oklahoma's that patient. I
You
really
think?
don't know. This might be the end of the Venable reign if he doesn't pick it up during the last few games. You know, if he finishes a year 1-3 and they don't even make a bowl game,
that's a problem there. I think.
Yeah.
Well, Brent Venables has one option though. If he does get fired from Oklahoma, he has one place he could go if Tim Banks gets hired.
Yes, I would definitely take him as a
defensive coordinator. He was a
that
championship level.
That's one thing. We were questioning Tim Banks last year because of our defensive Louis. Now this year we're worried somebody's going to hire him away from us. I hope they give Tim Banks was the coordinator of the week this week. He got that. I hope Tennessee pays him enough to keep him because he has proven himself through fire.
And even if we don't get him and somebody steals him away for a bunch of money, we still have possibly Brent Venables, championship level defensive.
I would definitely take Brent Venables.
Josh Heupel and Brent Venables were both Sooners.
Yeah.
During that championship team in 2000.
Yeah.
So that could be a good connection.
That could definitely be a good connection, yeah.
I'm just saying there's two good options.
That's definitely good options. I hope.
And that should be it.
That's it. That is it for the college football this week. We hope you had a little fun with us. Be sure to leave some comments below what you like, what you don't like, who you like. Be sure and hit the Groovy Baby button. I'll put it over here somewhere. And then we'll see you
next week.